Welcome to a short video about one of Halcyon's products, the Audit Journal Monitor. Now, I'm going to start by very briefly covering the suites of products that Halcyon has and show you where the Audit Journal Monitor actually fits in. So, I'll just start by looking at our website under Systems Management, and I'll look at our product chart. We can see that we have a number of suites, starting at the Message Management Suite all the way up to the Operations Center and a special suite, the Security, Compliance and Monitoring Suite as well. The other products are covered either from information available from our website or from other videos available at halcyonsoftware.com/tv. So if I scroll down, we'll see that the Audit Journal Monitor doesn't appear in our smaller suite, the Message Management Suite, but it does appear in every other suite. So unless you only have the Message Management Suite, you are already entitled to the Audit Journal Monitor and you can use that freely. Okay, so what is the Audit Journal Monitor and what can it do for you? Well, let me explain a scenario that I come across very often when I visit companies, and also a scenario that we used to play out ourselves here at Halcyonsoftware before we wrote these tools to help us. A typical example is I've visited a bank down in the city, and there's a gentleman there whose job it is to look at the audit journal reports. So what he does is each week he runs multiple reports off using the IBM operating system commands to query the IBM audit journal Q-Aud-Journ, and he runs off several hundred, sometimes several thousand pages, and then he'll look through those reports, or he'll write a query to scan the audit journal itself, and he'll look for events that have occurred that might indicate that somebody's doing something that they shouldn't be doing. For example, it might be potentially somebody trying to hack into the system by trying passwords of high user profiles. It may be somebody who's changed system values that maybe shouldn't have changed system values, or changed system values you didn't know have changed. It might be, for example, somebody who has tried to access some files that they're not authorized to access. Now, we all know that authority failures, such as files trying to be accessed with incorrect authority, happen regularly, and that may be to the way that your application is set up, perhaps incorrectly, or the authority is not quite right. However, it might be somebody trying to look at your payroll file, or to look at personnel data when they shouldn't be. Well, what happens is this gentleman runs through the reports and he finds those events, and then he creates a separate report, then he submits that to management or to the auditing team and says, look, last week or 3 days ago or earlier today somebody tried to do something wrong. I think, well, that's okay, but it's a bit past the event. Wouldn't you like to know that somebody had done something wrong or tried to do something wrong as soon as it happens, so that you could address it? So Halcyon wrote the Audit Journal Monitor to help ourselves and also to help many other companies by alerting you in real time of a potential threat or attack. It's a very simple product to use, and when you look at the screen that I'm looking at now, this is the green screen Halcyon Audit Journal Monitor, and you can see there's not too many options on there, very simple to use. Now, before I go into the product, I'll just give you some more examples of items that you can be alerted to in real time, and this list is by no means exhaustive. This is just to give you some ideas of what the product can do. We can analyse and monitor changes made to user profiles. Now, this could be a change made to a user's special authority, either being added or being taken away. It might be a change to a user's user class, or perhaps to the limited capabilities. You might also want to know, for example, if someone has changed their authority to Cicadum, or perhaps to all ops, or to job control. Of course, you can find the information in the audit journal yourself if you have the time, and if you can't sleep at night and want to do something extremely boring like that, or we can do all the work for you and tell you as soon as it happens. We can also quickly detect when invalid attempts are made to sign on. Now, I'm going to be straight with you. If I see somebody try to sign on with an invalid password, I don't really care. Sounds a bit blasé, doesn't it? I don't really care. Well, I don't really mean I don't really care. What I mean is that's normal. I know that people put the password in incorrectly, perhaps on Monday morning, or they come back from lunch, or they've been on holiday, and I do that myself. Now, what if somebody puts the password in invalidly 3 times in quick succession? Might be a bit of a warning. Could be genuine that somebody's really forgotten the password. However, what if it's somebody trying to put in the QSecOffer password 3 times within a very short period? Maybe it's somebody trying to hack in. Now, of course, it probably isn't, but you don't know that, and the auditors don't know either. So let's alert you in real time to an event like that occurring, and then you can at least check it out. We'll log it for you automatically. You know about it straight away, and you can do something about it at that point in time. My favourite one is changes to system values. How do you know system values being changed? Well, what you can do is you can make a list of them all, and you can review them regularly, even if you did it once a week. Yeah, that's okay, but somebody changes the system value and you don't know about it, it can have a detrimental, even dangerous effect on your system. The most common cause I've found is in fact installing third-party applications. And third-party vendors, if you think of asking the question, when I install your product, does it change my system values? They're probably going to say no. Now, it may be no because they don't want you to think they change it. It might be no because they don't know if they changed it or not. Using the Audit Journal Monitor, you will know as soon as the system value is changed and what it's been changed to as well. You can also be informed when sensitive objects such as payroll files are created, deleted, restored, renamed, moved, or whatever you like. Or, as I mentioned previously, if somebody tries to access those critical files. Now, something I commonly do is set up a rule to see if anybody's created any items in QGPL or in QSys. Shouldn't be in there. I want to know if it's actually happened and who's done it. Authority failures I've mentioned. What about keeping your auditors happy? Monitor for programs that are changed to adopt authority. It's worthwhile keeping all those back doors closed and proving that you're keeping them closed as well. Now, there's also spool files, hundreds if not thousands of them. That's okay, that's normal, we know that. There might be certain spool files that you want to know when they've been read or created or deleted, held or released, or even the security attributes changed. And again, I'll mention something like payroll. If you run your payroll on your machine or you have financial information run as spool files on your machine, it'd be good to know who's read them. Can sometimes give you an indication if you've inadvertently set your machine up incorrectly or don't have enough authority in sensitive areas. You can also keep an eye on user profile swapping. What's user profile swapping? Well, a good example is when you FTP onto the machine or from the machine, as perhaps myself, if I started FTP session as Donnie MacColl, I actually swap profiles when I connect. Wouldn't you like to know what's actually going on and who's swapping profiles? Is it legitimate or is it somebody trying to hide behind another user profile? You can find out when users have connected and disconnected through FTP. You can also, and this is a very powerful feature, audit command strings. So what does that mean? Well, what it means is if anybody runs a command, then it gets written away to the audit journal and we can tell you about it in whichever way you wish to know, or take an action or a number of actions. Well, why do I care? Well, you would care if it's #sys, or perhaps if it's should user profile, or start SST, somebody going into the system service tools. Now with the audit journal, there's a lot of very, very useful information that goes in there. There's a lot of useless information that you'll never use goes in there. If somebody does try and use one of those very sensitive commands, now even if they don't have authority to use it, using the command string audit rule, you'll know that somebody's trying to use that, and you can be alerted to that in real time as soon as they're trying to use it. We can also look for actions regarding jobs, so jobs are submitted or changed or ended. So there's a number of uses for this. I've had a number of companies that have said to me, I need to know if anybody's actually running jobs outside of working hours, and that's how I can tell them. I can prove to them if jobs are being run outside of working hours and usual working patterns by using the Audit Journal Monitor. Okay, so how does it work? Well, you've installed your Halcyon suite, or you've installed the Audit Journal Monitor, and you're in the Audit Journal menu. Now, if you already have a suite, you can just type in Go Halcyon, and you'll find the Audit Journal Monitor from there. If you prefer, you can type in Go Ham, H-A-M, Halcyon Audit Journal Monitor. The first thing you do is say, I want to tell you what it is I want to be alerted to. I'm quite happy for the IBM Cure Journal to work away, storing all that information, Don't want to know about everything because I'd never get anything done. Just tell me about the things I want to know about. So I'll go into option 10, work with audit journal filters. And you'll see a number of audit journal entry types listed down the left hand side and a plain text description for you to understand what they actually mean. Authority failures, particularly good one. Okay, now what I could do is I could create a rule. Oh, there's already one there. That's right. When you install the product, there's already rules set up, an example set up for you to just release, so it can be monitoring almost out the box. But I want to do something quite specific. I want to monitor if anybody is trying to access JDF 911 in JDE GTA. So I give it a description, I can leave the defaults as they are, can press enter, and it comes up with my select or omit screen. Now I'm going to be very specific here. I want to know about authority failures to an object name called JDF 911 in a library called JDA GTA. If I press enter on here, I will automatically monitor if there's any authority failures on that particular object, then I can take an action or a number of actions. But you know what, just thinking of it, I actually want to know about all authority failures. I can take it a step further in any library that begins with JDE. So I can do that. So this is your selection criteria of what it is you want to monitor. So I want to select, don't care about the job name or the username or in fact the object name, just any objects of any type, authority failures in any JDE application libraries or data libraries. I'm going to do this initially because then that will give me an indication if I do have my application set up incorrectly, and then I can create additional rules, more specific rules as I wish. Okay, now there is another entry down here which typically leaves as default unless I want something specific, and that's reason code. So I'm looking for authority failures on anything within JDE style libraries, and there can be various reasons why that might have happened. Now if I just do an F1 for help, get some extremely useful help text. Now normally I would say you shouldn't need to read the help text. And this, it's worthwhile reading. You don't need to read it to work out how the product works, that's simple enough. But if you want to do something very specific, you can either read the manual, you can look online, or you can read this. So if I look at something like, here for example, scroll up. Okay, I'm looking at authority failures, which is the rule that I'm creating at the moment. There's the selection criteria, but here's the various reason codes. There's A, I'm not authorized to the object. Restricted instruction, a validation failure. Whoa, look at that. Who would have thought there's that much different types of information available just for an authority failure? So what I tend to do, and to be honest, I'm sure this will work for you, is I'd recommend you leave it a star asterisk rather than worry about all the various different reason codes, but be aware they're there because it becomes more relevant as you look at some of the other rules that you can create. Okay, so I'm monitoring for, I'll have to change the description of that, I'm monitoring for any authority failures in any JDE style library. Press enter. If I do find an authority failure, what do I want to do? I want to know about it. So I'll take a console action and I can have that displayed on my green screen console, or I can have it displayed on my enterprise console, my GUI, graphical front end, that all the Halcyon products regardless of the platform can feed into. Okay, that's it. It's as simple as that. All I have to do then is release the rule, then start the monitor to make sure that I'm actually monitoring. And that's it, as simple as that. Now I'm monitoring. Well, let me go back in and just pick a few more. I don't intend to cover all of these. It's just a quick video to give you an idea of what we can do. Let's look at something like command string audit. Okay, there's an example in there, a couple of examples in there already. #sys. Let's have a look. And that's all I need to do. My select criteria is I'm selecting any job, any username, #sys. If you wish, you can be very specific. So what I could do is say I want to select anybody trying to use #sys, but I could actually add in an omit if the user began with Q, for example. So if QSysColfa or QSysOpera tries to use #sys or any of the IBM profiles, I don't care, I don't want to be notified about it. Anybody else, tell me about it. and look at the various object items that we have as well. A delete object. You can either look for a particular object being deleted or renamed, or you can, if you wish. So I've done here. So anything that begins with Q, maybe temporary objects. I really don't mind about that. But if I look at the select criteria, I could say I want to know if anything's been deleted out of JDE star or out of a particular library. Now, if I come down, page down, there's a profile swap that I mentioned at the beginning. If an object's been moved or renamed, if an object's been restored. If you have, for example, authorized restores, a number of companies have, what you can do is in your selection criteria, do an omit. Say, I'm really not bothered if anything gets restored into library Don Mac, and I could put my authorized restores in there so I don't get alerted to that fact, but anything outside the authorized restores would alert me that an unauthorized restore had occurred. Okay. Now I'm going to scroll down just a bit here and show you the invalid password, because this, like all the rules, is very, very flexible. Now, I mentioned before, I'm not overly worried about people forgetting the password. What I am worried about Halcyonsoftware threat or Halcyonsoftware attack. So what I'm going to do in this screen is say 24 hours a day I want to monitor, going to be quite specific for an invalid password from Halcyonsoftware. However, I only want to be told about it if I get an invalid password attempt on Halcyonsoftware 3 times in 3 minutes. If I do, then tell me about it. I'm going to be quite specific, put Halcyonsoftware in here. And do you know what? Because it is so important, I actually want that to be sent to the console, but I want to know about it straight away. So even if I'm at home, I want to know about it. So I'm going to add in another action, a page action. What that basically means is send an alert out to cell phone. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to send it out to the ops rotor. So whoever's on call out of hours will know that somebody's tried to sign on as Halcyonsoftware invalidly 3 times in 3 minutes. Now the system values I mentioned, and on this one I would strongly recommend you just release the default. This is all system values. I always want to know if any system values have changed. In fact, at this point, what I'm going to do is just give you an example of what would happen. So I'm going to do worksysval Q verify object restore. Okay, that's an example of what it does. And on ours it's quite secure. We're saying that anytime anybody restores an object, we want to verify signatures and restore. Now what I'm going to do is make that less secure. I'm going to change that to 1. Now this may happen when somebody does it maliciously, or it might be a developer doing it, or a third-party product doing it, and that entry will get written away to the audit journal. And eventually, when you run a report, you might see it's been written away, and you can look back and you go, oh yeah, that was Donnie doing that. Did it for a very reason, but he changed it back, or rather he forgot to change it back. Might be something else. But how will you know in real time? Well, this is how you'll know. I look in option 1, work with alert log. Oh, I can see 1630, 1628, system value, Q verify object restore was changed by Halcyonsoftware. Just have a little look at that. Oh, and it has been changed, and it's been changed to the new value of 1. And there's the reason code. I've left it star, but it's telling me the reason code. System value's changed. Okay, well that's fine if I happen to be looking at the green screen, but what I'd rather do is have my help desk or my third-party providers looking after my systems for me, or indeed my own enterprise console pop up as it has here and say Halcyon 270, IL 270, got a message come up here saying that SV audit journal entry time SV has occurred, system value Q verify object restore has changed, and it's changed by Halcyonsoftware. So I know exactly who's changed it, know the date and time they've changed it, but more importantly I know about it straight away. Now as I say, that could have had that sent out to my cell phone if I wished, so I would definitely know about it straight away. Now that's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah, I think so. Let me show you something different. If you had discovered that system value had been changed, What would you do about it? You might well change it back, mightn't you? But let me show you something here from scratch. Let me just set up something specific to this particular system value. So, if QVerify object restore system value is changed, I want you to tell me about it. I'm going to take a console action. Good, that's great, absolutely fine. But do you know what else I want to do? I want to take another action, and there's many I can take. I want to take a command action. I want to do judge_sysval QVerify object restore. I want to change it to 3 again. That's pretty good, isn't it? So we'll tell you it's changed, we'll tell you who's changed it, we'll tell you who changed it as soon as it's been changed, we'll change it straight back again. Very, very powerful. Okay, that's some examples of what the Audit Journal Monitor can do for you. There's a profile swap that I mentioned. There's where you can look for changes or amendments being made to printed output. Now what about, I mentioned something else, and then I'll leave you to have a play with the product yourself. What about actions affecting jobs? I did mention that I would like to know if jobs were started outside of working hours. So any suspicious, if I can spell it, activity, suspicious activity, quite commonly people doing jobs outside of working hours wouldn't normally be doing. Now let's say working hours are 0700 to 1900. I want to monitor the opposite. So I want to monitor from 1901 through to 0659. Now I want to monitor all those times. I want to monitor for job activity. So I don't want to monitor for all jobs, I just want to monitor for jobs being submitted. This is where you can use the reason codes. I happen to know, because I'm sad that way, actually it's not that true, it's because I've done this so many times, that reason code B is job submitted. Now, how do I know that? Well, more importantly, how will you know that? As I mentioned quite at the beginning, your help test is your friend. You can scroll down, and when you find the JS entry type, you'll actually find that reason code B is job submitted. Press enter, and I'm going to know about it. I'll get alerts sent to the enterprise console or the green screen console. Or I'll be told about the cell phone, or I can run a command, I can call a program, or any combination of those objects. Okay, I hope that explains very briefly what the Audit Journal Monitor can do for you. If you would like any more information whatsoever, please do just contact technical services at halcyonsoftware.com or visit our website and submit a request from there. Thanks for listening.